Hello. Welcome to episode 197 of Live Drawing. Tonight, we're going to be working on some stuff for Heroes Con. I'll give you an update on Undersea Hero, and I'll show you some of the stuff we're working on. I finished inking one of the drawings we've been working on the stream here. These we finished a while back. These are the two of the commissions for the Undersea Hero campaign. These will both have to get watercolored, so we will do that. This was that Leo that we had that I posted. Decided to go with like an all black background. There's that Supergirl. Hey Daniel, good to hear from you. This is just a quick mixed media tick. I like to experiment on pieces of reusable materials or taking something that maybe isn't art supplies and trying to make it art supplies. And I've found that some of these cardboard boxes that are food or drinks, in this case it was a sparkling ocean spray, and I try to turn them into artwork. And I feel good about it, so I'll keep doing that. Cereal boxes are actually a really nice texture too. If you crack those open and cut off the panels, I find that those are really good drawing surfaces. This is that watercolor I just posted. This was kind of a warm-up because I hadn't painted anything in a while. So this was a drawing I did over the weekend that I'm hoping to color before Heroes Con. And, I did all the title treatment by hand, so it's like an art piece that is sort of sketch covery. Just a quick Power Girl. I don't think this came out very well, so I might just toss that. Of course, we're tight on space. There's a Wolverine I did. I didn't post it, but I just drew it for when I was drinking my coffee one morning. This is that big commission we've been working on the stream. I finished inking it. We got Arthur asking Superboy for an autograph. We got Karate Kid fighting the Tick. We got Paul the Samurai, and then we've got Caped Cod propositioning Triplicate Girl. So I'm not a Legion guy, but I did my best to bring some character to it, and this has to be in watercolors as well, so we will be coloring this whole thing. Started a red Sonia that was kind of fun. I don't know. This was the start of a Conan drawing, but nobody asked for Conan. And then on eBay, there was I don't know if it was a store that had just had a stack of them, but I bought these off of eBay in a lot. I got a good deal on them. They're all stamped some comic book store out in California, but I was able to get 10 copies of this for a good deal. So I'll have those to sell at shows. How's the insurance going? Well, for those of you that don't know, you can see on my social media that a tree fell on our old car, and we're going through it with insurance. They're coming tomorrow to tow it to a place to assess it. So all the paperwork is in, all the photographs, all the video, everything that we had to submit, we submitted. We got the police report number and all that stuff. So we did the best we could. So I pretty much just plan to work on the next sketch on my sketch list, which is a full figure tick. Of course, I bent that. Let's see if I can get this piece of paper out. There we go. Pencil here. I'm an old man, and I use just a plain HB pencil. I don't really have a plan for this drawing. I've been trying to fill up the space better and have some front to back motion on stuff. Let's mess around with some figure. I could also do some painting if people wanted to watch how I do painting. We've done it on the show before, but it's been a little while. How's everybody else doing? I don't know. I just kind of just ran out of a little juice there. Wish I had a funny idea off the top of my head, but I don't. So sometimes I'll look at my old stuff and see if I can find maybe a joke that we didn't get to tell. Or you'll notice there's a difference if you ever flip through this issue in the type of line art in the first story and then the second story. It's because the first story was drawn digitally. This was all drawn digitally. And then this was all drawn traditionally. Moon Marathon's maybe it might be my favorite story. I like that, or in Borneo Reborn of the Tick stories I did. So, hey Marthos. Hello AJ fan. So. How am I? I'm doing all right. I think we talked about this before. I've never seen the Super Mario Brothers movie, the new one, so. Kind of lost my edge for the moment. I was doing okay before. Sometimes when the camera kicks on, I got to. See, there's not enough bend to it. I want a little more bend to it. Disney Descendants. I don't know what that is. You guys are too cool for me. All right, I got a gag. Oh, right. Yeah. You vow to keep working on your Dimebox turnarounds. I don't know if Dimebox is worthy of a vow of any kind, but whatever you want to do for it, it is open to interpretation. I think I'd rather be working on that tonight, but I've got I'm lucky. I've got a few sketches I've got to get done in time for the convention, Heroes Con down in Charlotte next week. I fly out next week, so. Oh wow. Yeah. Grab a different sheet of paper because I don't want to clean that and spending too much time on it. I was drawing okay this afternoon on my lunch break, but right now I'm just not feeling so great. But the show must go on. I have an idea, so it's not that I have to come up with an idea. I have them out of order. Jesus Christ. I'm not thinking straight. People who speak first have to be on the left. People who speak second have to be on the right. I honestly don't really do turnarounds anymore. I should, but it's to me so much wasted labor. There we go. We've got the main figures chunked in, so you can start to think about how everything fits together. Try to get natural poses on the hands. That's kind of yeah. Well, I mean, you hit Control A and then delete, and it deletes everything on your screen. So, but I've got it. I think I've got it. So we'll try to pull this together. We've got like our big shapes. One of the things I've been really working on is just the overlap for the foreshortening, where what things are hidden and how much is hidden by it. Like when your forearm is bent, how much of your bicep, because you don't show the whole bicep. There's going to be some that's hidden. And because it's the tick, like everything's super exaggerated. So you have to kind of push it to the nth degree. What have I been reading lately? Been reading old issues of Marvel Comics Presents, and I picked up some issues of Negative Burn, which was an independent anthology book that came out starting in the 80s with Caliber, and then it continued on through like Desperado and Image at different times. And tons and tons of artists came through there, like Phil Hester and Joe Pruitt and Michael Gaidros. Just tons and tons of artists worked there. Chris Campana's first work was in Negative Burn. Have I seen the Mario movie from the 90s? Yes, I have seen the one with Bob Hoskins and Dennis Hopper. Dennis Hopper is one of those performers that, I may not see every movie he's in, but he's like a guy that if he's on a movie list, I go, okay. This leg's too long. And then we'll do the old fashioned where you bring the buildings at an arc like this, and it creates this framing. I was at the level where I had one standard hero dude, and I was used to doing, and I could just remember to modify certain things. I heard the name Negative Burn, but not sure if I read any. Negative Burn is if you're up for some gritty, truly indie, sometimes bordering on outlaw comics. 80 indies comics had in early 90s indies comics had like a certain vibe to them. They had an edge to them. The quality varied greatly, but Negative Burn did a pretty good job curating who they had in their anthologies. Even at Caliber, who I've heard mixed things about what it was like to work for Caliber. The meteor, yes, the meteor. Well, the tree decided to try to rest on it, like when my cat sleeps on the back of the chair. It looked at that old red car and said, "Huh, maybe I'll try to take a nap on that." Even though everyone said no. It was not an ideal way to spend Saturday and then chunks of every day since. Thankfully, it's not currently our own car, which it was for a long time, and I will be annoyingly sentimental about it because I watched The Brave Little Toaster too many times as a kid. There's a hand. That's where that will go. Yeah, Negative Burn fit along with the genre fiction of the time. There was some crime stuff in it. There was some horror. There was some superheroes, some fantasy. Like it was it had a variety of genres in it. So it wasn't quite as avant-garde as Raw magazine. Trying to think of other books that I would compare it to. I mean, in the 2000s, Digital Webbing Presents, which that's kind of where I met most of the guys that I broke in with. I was never actually published at Digital Webbing Presents. I did some posts on their online forum or whatever. I've always been tempted to go hit the Wayback Machine and see if those pages still exist somewhere and look at my awful old drawings that I was making artists tell me they weren't shitty, but they were. Yeah, here's one of the things that I don't shy away from when I'm doing commissions is if the idea requires two people to be talking, then you're getting a second character and I'm not charging you for it. Because I just want it to be a good piece that, if they decide to sell it or if I see it floating around on the internet somewhere, that I'm proud of it. So that's one of the things that I'm always willing to do and always have done is just if I upgrade the piece, I just upgrade it for the quality of the piece. So I just have Arthur sitting here on the edge of the building. We've got the tick asking, "See any crime, chum?" And Arthur's reading a comic book saying, "Nope." And I might make this the back cover to Undersea Hero just for laughs. I don't know if any of my chums that I will see at Heroes are in the chat, but it's going to be a heck of a show. There's tons of artists that I've never met before, and I'm actually going to try to bring a few things to get signed. There's a couple artists that used to work for Charlton that'll be there, and I'm a big Charlton collector. There's a couple of people from my Marvel Holiday Special #1 that I haven't met that'll be there. So keep getting signatures on my first comic book that I ever bought. Today at the day job, I obviously have to take time off to go to the show. It came up in a meeting. Of course, the first thing that someone who doesn't know me asked was, "Can you get pictures of the people dressed up as characters?" And I just kind of ducked out of the conversation. I don't know. I guess I have some resentment towards the general populace when they hear anything about comic conventions. All they care about are cosplayers or the visual spectacle of cosplayers, or the what you call it, the celebrity guests or whatever. It's a very niche, small, tight group thing. The people that are there for the arts, and I don't take that for granted. Yeah, I mean, I didn't want to go into any of my baggage or anything about being a slighted comic book uh, artist or something, and that that Heroes is not that show. Like, they're not bringing in Star Wars guests. It is just comic books and comic creators. So I gotta figure out what to do with this hand. We gotta raise the head up a little bit. No gala tonight? No, I'm not going to the what you call it, the Chamber of Commerce dinner. Excuse me. No, Patrick. They never appeared in a story together. Well, I showed this off a couple streams ago. We did do an unauthorized crossover where we did interconnecting covers at New York one year, where we had Jenica facing off against the Tick and the Monkeys from Moon Marathon. If you bought it, the two covers connected. And I know that they had reached out to do the TMNT crossover in the past, but I assume for paperwork reasons, that those things never materialized beyond a couple of phone calls or whatever. I have my suspicions as to what happened, but I don't have any firsthand knowledge as to why they all fell apart. I do remember actually asking Kevin Eastman about it at one point, and he was not opposed to it at all. And but this was after he had lost or sold his ownership stake in the Turtles, so he had no say in whether or not they could actually cross over together. Now, I'd always been told that Peter Laird negotiated himself a side door to some some rights to publish Ninja Turtles comics, and they would be explicitly the Mirage version thereof, is my understanding. So I always kind of wondered why they didn't go that route. I don't like his arm; it's too stiff. Maybe we'll flip arms. We'll see what it looks like. Yeah, that's a good arm. I'm going to try to switch arms. I don't like that arm either. I don't know. I just don't like this piece. I don't like it. I do not like it. We're not doing well tonight. 0 for 3. 0 for 3. I don't know where my pad went. Here it is. Maybe we'll just try to do a small piece to get our feet moving. That's probably the smart thing, but I guess I'm not in the smart thing mode tonight. Of course, I got dinged. Can't use that piece of paper. Hey, how's it going? No worries. We're just trying to get our feet moving. We're having trouble. I was drawing fine this afternoon. Maybe it's because it's so darn warm in here. I don't know. It's okay. Let's just forget the idea. Just try to draw a dynamic pose. see what we can piece together here. This is not too terrible. Once I start piecing stuff together, it starts to fill out okay. I don't feel like I lost it. That's why I keep pushing forward. Sometimes when I feel like I've lost it, it's best for me to just call it a night and like go watch TV or something. It's coming together. Push down a little too hard here. Coming together. Much better than the last one. What the hell is... See if we can get the arms. Right now, we're still just chunking it out. Yeah, I know I tend to be tough on myself, but I just when I'm on the stream, I gotta be focused. I gotta have the thing going. I gotta have the magic trick ready to go. This time, I'm just kind of fighting through it. So, which does happen, and you folks are always very nice about it, but. There we go. A little foreshortening on this arm. A little foreshortening coming forward. There we go. Those parts overlapping. These down. There's the trapezius. I've kind of figured out some of my musculature that I'd been messing up for a while. There's an overlap there where that leg should go. This knee here. And if you think back to your How to Draw Comics the Marvel way, I'm gonna bend that leg going the other way. There we go. There's a good chunked out full figure that we can we can work with. I'm going to start up over here with this arm because I think it's really important. That's a good idea. Like I've talked about many times. I have to like kind of like clay. I've got to get some stuff down onto the wheel before I can start shaping it. And then it's actually one of the reasons why switching to the classic wooden pencil has been good for me because you can't press down too hard when you hold it this way, and you can scoot around real quick, and it gets you some marks down that I can react to, and then I can sort of like figure out what's missing. I can move things around. I can pull up like right there. I need to bring up the collarbone. And then we can go in and do some big shapes. The good thing about this one is compared to the other one, it'd be easier to finish. All right. Lights went a little zippy on us there. All right. So you start to chunk in what the head looks like from this angle. As I've said many times before, the way I draw the tick is I'm sorry, I'm going to say it's unique amongst anybody who ever worked on the tick. The way I changed things to be, in my opinion, just a little bit more modelable. Like, what's the right word? It functions three-dimensionally from different angles the same way, more uniform. Is that the word? And I made some creative decisions based on early Edlin drawings versus late Edlin drawings when I was coming up with my version. So they would be consistent but rooted in the history of the character. I just I've come to accept that those differences exist and that it's okay to acknowledge them. One thing that had been going around social media that I'm pretty sure most of the people that are in this stream have probably seen has been Mike Mayhew's telling artists to not do comic conventions. And I have a rebuttal to that I'm working on. And it's backed up by one thing that is very tactile and has statistical backup to it. And that's my very own Kickstarter for Undersea Hero. And I have been building a map that shows obviously not the addresses, but just the states. Like, when you're a kid, you mark off the states you visited. That just shows the states where all of the books went. Um, and if you look at the places that supported me, it's places that I've been going to conventions. So, I spent a year going to conventions just promoting that the Kickstarter was happening that Christmas time, end of year, whenever the heck it launched, I don't remember. And when I look at who backed it, it was all people I'd met in my travels and in my time as a professional. So, like, this idea that you lose money at conventions, it just depends if you're trying to maximize the dollars at a convention or if you're using it as a promotional event or both. Like, some of each of those are difficult to quantify. And the people that I've met decided to support me when I did the project. So, this idea that you can stay at home and make money is true, but if you're looking to expand your base, there are certain demographics and audiences, that, and I find myself amongst them, that I won't just buy stuff that only exists digitally. I don't like buying online unless I have to, or because it's like a specialty item or it's tough to find or whatever. There's something to it. And when I meet artists, I want to support them. So I've been working on a rebuttal to that. I don't know when or if I'll publish it, but it probably won't be until I finish the fulfillment on the Kickstarter, which we're nearing the end. We've got 84% fulfilled. A few of them I'm dropping off in person, so those are not delivered yet, so I haven't marked them off, but they're accounted for. So we're getting to the nitty gritty of that, and when that last box goes out, man, I cannot tell you how happy I'm going to be. And I showed off the some people showed up a little late, but I did finish inking that drawing that we've been working on of the Tick characters in the Legion of Superhero characters. We've got Arthur asking Superboy for an autograph. Got a Karate Kid, who was the character they most wanted, fighting the Tick. And then we have, Cape Cod trying to see if Triplicate Girl is cool or not, shall we say. So we've got that. We've got to watercolor that. So depending on if I get my commissions done or not, we might be working on that next week, or it'll be the week after the stream. We do have our 200th episode coming up in 3 weeks. So if anyone would like to pop on and say hi as like a guest or whatever, or draw on screen, let me know, and we'll make that happen. Thanks. Got the overlapping portions for the foreshortening, which is something I've been practicing a lot lately. So even if something doesn't need to be foreshortened, like to show in action, I've been trying to lately just to make it a little bit more dynamic, and to give it a little bit of movement. So chunking it out, as I like to say. And like little things, like I'll put a bend in the toe, like we'll do that right here, where there's just a little bit of a bend there. That's right, 200 episodes. You can listen to me talk about nonsense for hours and hours and hours. And we picked up a few followers this last week. So if you're not following on any of the platforms, just hit the like and subscribe button. Feel free to share the channel or hit the bell icon if you're on YouTube, which I actually think is probably the best interface. I should say that the one on my website is the best one, but it's not. It works just fine because it carries the YouTube feed, but I don't think you can chat through my website. I think you have to have a YouTube account to be able to chat through that. Hi, Carrie. How are you? How are you doing this evening? This is one of my pre-commissioned sketches for Heroes Con that's coming up. They wanted a full figure sketch of the Tick, so that's what we're working on. Oh, I guess convention news. I got a new banner. It's got Undersea Hero on it and logos to all the books that I've been doing. Oh, Carrie, this is a drawing that I'm working on of a character named the Tick, and it's a comic book that I worked on for over 10 years. Hard to believe. It was not a monthly book. I never say that it's a monthly book, but I did basically something or all of every special single one-shot special edition that they did for that time. So we'll pick a light source, which will be up here. Thank you. Ben Edlund himself actually told me that he liked the way I drew both the Tick's chin and the Tick's hands. He said I drew good hands when I did the Baltimore yearbook with my character Undersea Hero and the Tick teaming up. I've shown it before. It was in the yearbook from a couple of years ago, which this is the only one I can't find copies of. I wish I had bought a case of them. Where am I? So many good. There I am. Undersea Hero and the Tick. And this came out before issue 1. So this is like, I don't know what you'd call a cameo. But I got to put Caped Cod, the Tick, Arthur, Undersea Hero, and Liquid Lad and some of our aquatic friends in there. So that's something I never get tired of seeing. Not because it's my artwork, but because I get to see my character interacting with the character I spent many, many years working on. That book, Undersea Hero #1, is currently only available in select stores and when you see me or one of the cover artists at a convention. But I will be opening up my web store at some point. I just have had no time. I had a giant tree fall on my car. Just so much stuff going on, getting ready for this show. I'd hope to have copies on that website before the show, but did not happen. The good thing about using HB lead instead of that blue stuff that I've been using for years is I can go in with just a kneaded eraser and pick up some of the structural drawing and just start to clean it up a little bit. Just pick it up. I thought I would put like a broken parking meter here, which would be cool. It gives you the idea that he's in the city, and then just some of my patented smoke that goes like that. Hey, Desiree, good to see you. was good you came around this time. I had to start over a couple times just to get this thing started. I was overthinking it, so I had to relax. And remember, our light source is up and to the left here, so we will have muscly muscles. You can see some sinew. Make that pop out like that. Using your shadows to help frame things and make things pop is always helpful. Changing how I hold a pencil has been super helpful, just to not get too bogged down on detail early on. It's funny, I was actually thinking about different artists that what their version of the tick might have looked like, and the one that I kept coming back to was Wayne Boring. If you're not familiar with his work, he was a 1950s Superman artist, and he drew this tick with like super barrel chests. So he was one where I was like, man, what would a Wayne Boring version of the tick look like? Or Undersea Hero, or so. Pull this arm forward. After our struggles, if we could pencil this figure before we signed off, I would be happy. That'd be a good enough for this evening because I could ink it pretty easily. I'll show you a trick for if you're ever drawing a tick. This was actually shown to me by Ben himself. He would just kind of maybe map out where he wanted the antenna to go, and then he would go like this. And see that wave? You would then draw little circles like this at the end. And then there you have your tick antennae. There's always 4 segments, and then the little capper. That's the little pinchery thing at the end. A Jack Kirby drawing would be quite amazing. All right, now we can turn the pencil around and we can start to put in a little bit of detail. But using the side of the pencil, you can already see, and this is one of the things I like about this technique, is you can already see where some of the cast shadows need to go, where some of the other elements need to go. Like it's super useful just to get all that information on there. I did have one person give me 3 choices for the character of their sketch, and I haven't decided yet. They mentioned 2 characters for if you read the Age of Apocalypse from the Marvel comics, the X-Men comics. There's a character named Sugar Man, and which was like a giant head, and then there was a character named Holocaust, who was like this big fiery guy. And he also said he would accept Leonardo from the Ninja Turtles, which would obviously be the easiest one for me to draw, but I don't know if it would be the best drawing. Desiree says draw the big head guy. Yeah, if I remember correctly, he was a weird looking guy, and he was basically like a giant head like his hair. And then he had like these beady eyes, and like his nose was something like this. And then it was like a little leg. And then he had like these big, weird, like muscly arms. And he had like a weird tongue. And it was kind of like, it was drawn by Chris Bacalo, from what I remember, Bocello. And I remember it just being kind of weird when I was a young lad just reading the X-Men comics. Anytime I was drawing the antennae facing forward, I would just draw the front section first, and then I would draw the triangles. Yeah, that would be cool. Homage style pinups. Sorry, had to check something real quick. One thing I tend to do also, and I don't know if anybody else who draws has this issue, is that when you go in, I have a tendency to try to like lock down stuff too much or connect too many lines. So what I like to do is just keep picking up the pencil. Don't be lazy. I'm telling myself that. Actually, I need to pull this back a little bit. The middle of his chest needs to be like right about here. So this needs to come over. That goes down, goes up like that. And then this comes forward. And then this muscle comes back like that. And then there's some overhang. And then also what's great about using the HB is that, like I said, it erases easily, but also like I can press down pretty hard. Like, and that's a crutch that I have, is like when I start to move too fast or whatever, I will press down too hard. I was actually thinking about. I was looking at some Golden Age characters, and I was thinking about one that I thought Mike would draw well. Uh, Pharaoh, Space Detective. I thought that was it. Hey, thanks so much, Mike. Have a good night, man. Thanks for popping in. It's always good to see you. Keep picking up the pencil. Keep picking it up. Keep moving. Keep turning. I don't know why. I just thought a bent parking meter would. It's got the weird little twisty thing on it. Sticks out like that. There's the glass part at the top. And there's like the little coin slot. And then there's the like, if you don't move your car, we'll tow you in 10 minutes. Little blurb at the bottom. I don't know. It's just a nice little easy. It signifies that he's in a metropolitan area. You know, another way to do it is to just draw a manhole cover, but we're not going to go crazy with backgrounds on this piece. I was definitely overthinking this piece earlier on, so I appreciate everybody sticking with me to where I think tomorrow we'll be able to ink this sucker. And I think this is a black and white piece, so what we'll probably do is I don't think we have room for a full background like that. So what I'll probably do is add a little extra smoke coming up, and then that'll just be real dark so that we can have the tick popping like that. Is there a way we could have maybe a little hint of whoever he's squaring off with? Elseed. Maybe we'll just have a little shadow that looks kind of like Elseed. Then we have the tick's shadow go back, and we can actually put some of this in shadow, which would give us a little bit more of a back drop. And not all these lines will be connected when I ink it. Some of them will be, some of them won't be. It's one of the things that when I ink, I've got to move a little quicker when I do it, so that it has that same motion and movement to it. But I feel like we recovered nicely after a rough start, so I'm going to just I'll rough in some gray here so you get a little bit of an understanding as to what I'm talking about with the like trying to make it pop a little bit. So if we have this behind him darker, we can add like a little bit of a rim lighting when we ink it. But You can see that it helps him pop out from the background. We can have some, almost like he's dented into the ground. Like that's a little detail that I like to do, where like he's so heavy, his feet sink into the ground and it cracks, and there's like some, like an impact. There we go. All right, well, there's a full figured tick penciled for the night. I think we did okay. So I'm going to show off the stuff we showed off earlier one last time. We got the Tick versus the Legion characters. There's Arthur with the autograph, Karate Kid, Paul, and then Cape Cod making a move. There was that little Red Sonja sketch we started. This was from the picture earlier where it's like this Conan piece that I started where he's fighting like a skeleton zombie thing, which seemed like fun, but don't have time. There's a Wolverine I did that'll be in my binder that show's coming up. There's my little watercolor. So there's my little Happy Tick watercolor. World's Finest piece that I did just for fun. I'm hoping to watercolor it in. If I can get this done in time for the show, maybe this is what I'll put into the Heroes Con auction. I don't know. This is my turning recycling type drawings. I've got the back of this Ocean Spray sparkling cranberry label that I tore off, and it's cardboard. I also really like I said, cereal boxes. They have great panels and big panels that you cut them out, and they take ink really well, and they actually take ink wash really well. There's the Leo piece, Supergirl. There's that Tick. And there's that other one that we've got a watercolor. So we've got a lot of coloring to do. And yeah, I hope you'll join me when we do it. So yeah, feel free to send it over, and yeah, I'll help you out if I can. Everybody has a good rest of their night, rest of their week, and I hope to see you on the other side. All right, good night.